Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Carla Demaray, and I'm a chiropractor. I practice in Dixon, and I'm going to talk today about nutrition response testing. And another way to say it is morphogenic field testing. And this is about nutrition testing and how we can find the correct nutrition for you. Sometimes when you go into a vitamin store or a nutrition shop and you're not really sure what to get, you know that you need something to supplement your diet, but you're not sure what to get, it can get expensive if you're not getting what you need. So nutrition response testing is one of the ways that we can check to see how well you are absorbing the nutrition and what nutrition that you need. First off, we have an energy field that we have surrounding us. It's an electromagnetic energy field. Some principles call it chi, some principles call it chakras, we can call it an aura, but it's an energy field that surrounds us. And so with this energy field, we have waves of vibration. And when vibration is large, it is said that the patients have a vibrant health or a vibrant personality. If somebody walks into the room and they have a vibrant personality, you know that they're walking in before you even see them because their vibrations expand from their body. Well, when someone has a large vibration field, they're generally thought of as healthy. When the vibration field is smaller, they're thought to not have the vibrancy. And so nutrition response testing checks the vibrancy of the energy field. The way that I got into nutrition was as a chiropractor, I was into health already. But when I was a young girl at 18, I was diagnosed with a thyroid goiter. And a goiter is an enlargement of your thyroid gland. And what I know now is that generally that means that there's an iodine deficiency in my system that caused the goiter. But I didn't know that. And the doctors didn't know that at the time. And what they gave me was levothyroxine. And so I've been taking levothyroxine for years and years and years. Then later on, I had children, and my weight went up, and I could not get the weight off. And so the nutrition was off, and I knew it was off. And eventually I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And that was very frustrating because I did study nutrition when I was at the chiropractic college, and they told us about the pyramid, the food pyramid. And at the bottom of the food pyramid was carbohydrates. There was breads and pasta and rice and cereal. And they told us, the Agriculture Society told us that we were to have 6 to 11 servings of carbohydrates. So that's a lot of servings of carbohydrates, especially for a diabetic. Also, we were to have fruits and vegetables, which was right, and we were to have meats, which is right, and that at the very top of the pyramid were fats, so we were only supposed to have a little fat and a little bit of sugar. That's what the pyramid was. Well, if you eat a pizza, when we were in school, they told us pizza was a vegetable. But pizza got all of those nutrients. So it had bread, and I got wheat. And it had tomato sauce, so I got my vegetable. If you added a meat like pepperoni, you had meat. Cheese hit the milk, and therefore pizza was a really wonderful thing to eat. Then you top that off with the salad. Salad is healthy, but then you put ranch dressing on it, which, hit the milk aisle again. And then you had cheese, and then you had maybe a tomato. So if you washed it down with a Diet Coke, that was a really great nutritional complement to my diet. So that's the stuff that I learned when I was going to school. Then I came up again with the diabetes diagnosis at 45, and then 10 years later I got a diagnosis of another autoimmune disease called Rose-Dorfman disease. And Rosé-Dorfman is an autoimmune disease that makes your lymph nodes get really, really, really large. And we thought I had cancer. And I put my hand on my chest because this is a lymph node that they found. And it was an autoimmune disease. And it was found by nutrition response testing. So what happened, how I was introduced to nutrition response testing, is that a representative from the Standard Process Company came and she said I could do some muscle testing on you. So during the time of my 20s and 30s, I also kind of dealt with depression and anxiety. And when she tested me, she found that there was an herb that when she introduced it into my energy field, it had a good resonance, and that herb was withania. And withania is an herb that the Standard Process Company coined the sunshine herb because it lifted the anxiety and lifted the brain fog. So now with that brain fog gone, I could begin to understand my nutrition a little bit longer, a little bit further. So I want to talk to you about the energy field. How do we all have an energy field? It's an electromagnetic field that we have, and the way that it comes about is our cells at the very minuscule levels have atoms in them. And atoms have a nucleus, they have protons, which is a positive charge, they have neutrons, which is a neutral charge, and then they have electrons, which is a negative charge that swirls around the atoms. Those swirling electrons make a field, which is an energetic field. So we know this from electricity, that electricity has an electromagnetic field. And there is a photography called Kirlian photography that you can see an electrical field around us and around all living things. So in the 1960s, there was a doctor by the name of Dr. Goodhart who learned how to do muscle testing to find subluxation. And so what Dr. Springhoff did is he found that muscle testing that we use to find subluxation, he could change to do muscle testing that will test the electromagnetic field. So we began to test the electromagnetic field by seeing how wide it was. And in people who were in better health, their magnetic field, their electromagnetic field, was out by 5 feet in either direction of their body. And when someone was ill or not as vibrant, their energy field was smaller. So what do we do about that? We find out what is happening inside the body and what organs are being challenged, are not working with ease. In other words, those organs are dis-ease. They're not working with ease. So he made a step-by-step process in which we can test the organs. Once we find out what organs are primarily needing help or deficient in their vitamins, we can support those deficient organs by giving them good, healthy nutrition. So he made a system, and the way that the system works is we get I'm going to grab a bottle here. So if I have a female patient, then this is a male vitamin, and it has the cells of testes, it has the cells of the prostate. So these cells wouldn't resonate with women because we don't have those organs. So when I bring this into the patient's magnetic field, if I'm doing a muscle test, she will be strong until I bring this into her field, and then the muscle test will go weak. And that is how large her energy field is. So now we know, oh, her energy field is small, and we need to get it out to that 5 feet. And so what I do is I find out how big the energy field is by this test, and then we find out what other nutrients might be missing. So what I'm going to do with my patient is I'm going to bring her in front of me, and I'm going to put a challenge on her different organs, the top of her head, the back of her head, and so forth. Now, what this challenge is is much like if you fall through the ice and into a pond, you're going to get really cold, and what your body will automatically do is take all the blood from your extremities and push them into the vital organs, right? The vital organs are vital. They need to be working so that we stay alive, to the detriment of the fingers and toes. So all the blood will be shunted to the middle, and you might have your fingers and toes cut off in frostbite because they are not vital. Same thing with the muscle test. As I'm testing the muscle, if I hit a challenge to an organ that's already being challenged, then the energy from the muscle test is going to go to that organ, and the muscle will go down in their arm. So whatever organ I'm touching at the time, I know that organ is having a challenge. And so then I'm going to find if she has one or more organs that is testing weak in our muscle test, then I'm going to find the priority organ. So I put her hands in a different position and I find the priority organ, meaning the organ that's asking for the supplement or asking for help the most. So if that is a stomach, if she's having digestive problems, and I find that the priority organ is the stomach, then I'm going to use enzymes or things that support the stomach, and I'm going to bring them into her system, and I'm going to see if that makes her system strong. So I have my boxes that are red, white, and blue, and those boxes have energies that are in them. They're in vials. They're in vials that have been charged with a certain nutrient that they need. So there are vials that see if the patient is hydrated, if they need water. There are vials that see if they have digestion, or if they have maybe sugar handling, or if they have autoimmune problems, if they have problems with GMOs, if they have problems with GEs or genetically engineered things. These vials will tell us when I bring them into their system whether or not they're sensitive. Then I have other vials that will check to see if they have, maybe they have an underlying viral infection or fungal infection or bacterial infection. Sometimes these things do not show up on lab work, but people come in and they say, my labs are perfect, but I don't feel well. And so what this does is it finds those underlying subclinical problems, and we know these patients need help in getting rid of those issues. So then what we do is we have vials, and I'm sorry I didn't bring all of them, but we have vials of nutrition. So I bring the vials of nutrition into their body, and we do the muscle test. And when we find the muscle test is strong, that is what they need. Now, the nutrition that we bring in is very important. The nutrition, the products that I use are called standard process, and they use whole food vitamins. And what whole food means is they take food, say for instance beets, right out of the ground, they dehydrate them, and they use them in the supplement pills. And those whole foods are what the body recognizes as food. Where synthetic foods, it will have a change in the body action, but it is not the correct nutrient for the body. The body will not be as healthy with synthetic foods as it will be with whole foods. So I use standard process. The sister company to standard process is the MediHerb company. And MediHerb is founded in Australia, but MediHerb has exceptional herbs, and they have herb products that are titrated, they are measured, and again, the factory is just, it's clean, and that's what I use for helping these patients. So MediHerb and standard process. When I went to the standard process farm in Wisconsin, the organic farm was nothing like I've ever seen before. The soil was living. It smelled good. It was loamy. They churned the products of the plants that had not been harvested. They put it back into the ground, and then that ground would lay fallow for 1 year or more, so that the nutrients would go back into the ground. So it's from that ground that these nutrients are made. It's organic and it's beautiful. What also impressed me was they had a pollinator field. And a pollinator field is a field of flowers that they grow all year round, that when one flower is growing, the next is dying, and the one next to that is just beginning to grow. So there's flowers all season until winter time, where in Wisconsin they have snow, so there's no pollinators on that time. But they use the bees in order to pollinate the ground. And they don't use pesticides and herbicides. So I read a book through Standard Process that said in 1945 they measured spinach, and when they measured that same spinach in today, you'd have to eat 65 cups of spinach today to get the same nutrients that we had in 1 cup of spinach in 1945. That's how depleted our soil is. So it's so important for us to be eating organic, and it's so important for us when we can't eat all the organic food that we need, that we supplement. And when we supplement with these whole foods. So once again, when I find that the patient has a problem, and it's a female patient, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those nutrients on her in her energy field. Now, because they're whole food or they're plant-based like the herbs, those supplements and herbs also have an energy to them. So when I put those energies and wavelengths into her energy and wavelength, when they resonate, when they come together, the body knows it and it gets strong. So the next thing that I do is I find, again, that specific nutrient for that specific patient, and then we dose them. We put 1 pill in their hand and we muscle test them. We put 2 pills in their hand and we muscle test them. When they muscle test strong, then we know that is the dose that they need. But I tell my patients there is a caveat with that. With a lot of my patients, they haven't been eating well. They don't exactly know how to eat well. They're confused because we have confusing news. We're told eat no fat, eat low fat, eat whole fat. What do? So when my patients come in, they're a little bit confused. And so their nutrient or their health of their body is really low. So now, just like a man who has been in a desert for a long time, if we brought that man in and gave him a banquet, if he ate everything in that banquet, in just a little bit, he's going to throw up because he can't handle those nutrients. So when a patient takes these nutrients, sometimes if I've tested and say they need 3 of the pills or 3 digestive enzymes, I had a woman who came back to the clinic and she said she had, I'm sorry about this, but she had diarrhea 7 times in 1 day after taking the nutrients. Well, that's because her body was so sick, when she took in the good nutrients, it didn't know how to handle it. So what we had to do is we had to take those 3 pills a day and drop it down to a half a pill a day until she got better. And then as her system got better, then we could up her dosage of pills. And so when you use these nutrients and when you start changing your diet into healthy foods, it's going to take a while to see a change because we're working at the cellular level. We're working at the energetic level. So once those cells in the organs begin to heal, then the tissue begins to heal. The organs begin to heal, and then you have a healthier individual. Then when we do their muscle testing again, their energy testing, their energy is going to be larger. But sometimes the body has layers. So if we fix, say, to begin with, the stomach, then when her stomach starts becoming healed, we might find other organs that need to be worked on. One of the other organs that we see commonly is the adrenal glands. Adrenal glands are our stress glands. When we're under stress, they're putting out hormones all the time. And so we're up in that fight and flight all the time. And so those hormones are being depleted because we don't have enough nutrients in our body to replenish those hormones. So what we have to do is we have to either support the gland so the gland can make more nutrients, or give all the nutrients the body needs to make those hormones. So working with nutrition, doing this energy testing is very interesting because one, it is specific for each person's specific body. And two, it's using good nutrition, good whole foods that the body was meant to eat anyway, and it's building cells, healthy cells, from the ground up. So that is what nutrition response testing is. That's what we do, and we help educate the patients as they go along. Some people don't know what carbohydrate, fat, and protein are at all, and so we have to start where they are and start educating them. And so that's what we do at Demaray Chiropractic and Nutrition Center. We're there to teach them. So if you have any questions about the energy source or the energy surrounding us, the electromagnetic field, we're happy to answer any questions. We love to explain how the body works. We love to explain how this energy works, and we're here to answer questions. Does anybody have any questions now? Okay. If you think of any questions, I have my cards, and I'm happy to answer any questions and give a no-charge consultation. Or if you want to know more about energy healing, I'm happy to talk about it all day.
How does this interface with homeopathic remedies?
Homeopathic, now Dr. Springov, he does the standard process, which is whole food. He does the medi-herb, which is the herbal part, and he also does homeopathy as well. That's something that I have yet to learn, but homeopathy is interesting. You might very well know. With homeopathy, the homeo means same. So if somebody has a runny nose, what the allopathic medicine does is it takes that runny nose and dries it up. With homeopathy gives something that will make the nose run more, because the body knows intuitively what it has to do. It has to get out those allergies. It has to get out that viral infection. So it's going to run more. That's what homeopathy does. So again, it's using the body's cues on what to do in order to heal itself. It just wants to give, homeopathy wants to give more of what the body needs to complete that process of doing runny nose or a fever and so forth. So that's what homeopathy is. I have just touched on it. I have not learned that completely. So yeah. Any other questions? So what she asked is, if you're taking medication and you need to have supplements along with that, can you do both? And the answer is yes. When somebody comes in, they come in with all their medications. I'm taking thyroid medication. I'm taking diabetes medication. But along with that, I'm taking things that support my pancreas. I'm taking things that support my thyroid. So I, by the way, found out that I have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease. Diabetes is an autoimmune disease. They're saying diabetes now is Alzheimer's. It's just diabetes type 3 is Alzheimer's. So if we can support the body well, it's trying to heal itself with nutrients, which is just food. I mean, they use beets and they use carrots and they use broccoli and Brussels sprouts. So we're just feeding the body, supplementing the body what it uses anyway to heal itself. So we don't take anybody off of medication, but what we do is we support the body's natural way of healing itself. So I hope that answers your question. know if we can use the supplement and the medication in the same hand. We can, because your body is handling the medication already. And so we're putting the supplement on top of it.
How do you determine what diet to advise to particular patients?
Okay. What diet should patients go on? For my patients, I suggest the paleo diet. And are you familiar with the paleo diet? And then another subset of the paleo diet is the keto diet. So the paleo and the keto are almost alike, but the keto is going to have much more fat in it. So keto suggests 70 to 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbohydrate. So that means there's very little fruits and vegetables in the keto diet. The paleo diet is much more what our ancestors ate, you know, Paleolithic times, where they ate a little bit of meat when they could catch it, nuts and berries and fruits when they could get it. So that's what the paleo diet is. No processed food. So that's what our bodies were made for. It's interesting, when we went to school, we found out that with carnivores, they have a very short intestine because meat is very toxic. And so the carnivores get rid of the meat. Herbivores have a very long intestine because it doesn't get toxic as fast. Humans have a middle size, so we're supposed to eat everything, be omnivores. So we're supposed to have some meat and some vegetables and some fruit. So that's what I think. If we're put on this earth as symbiotic creatures to live on the earth, let's eat what the earth gave us. The refined foods, anything that you find in the middle section of a grocery store is in boxes or cans, that is refined. There is no nutrients in canned vegetables. There's no nutrients in anything that's in a box. That it is not good for you. So what we tell our patients, to answer your question, it's either paleo or keto, and then we help them through that. Because when somebody is eating carbohydrates, it hits the same spot in our brain as opioids. And we all know that we have an opioid problem these days, right? And everybody's trying to get off the opioids. Well, it satisfies us. That carbohydrate satisfies our brain. So when we take patients off the carbohydrates, they go through withdrawals. And on about the third to fourth day, it's like, stay away from them or somebody's going to get hurt if they don't have their bread or hamburger or pizza. So we know about the fourth day they get through that, and then they can start feeling better. But yeah, processed foods are just not good for us.
And you use the same for all, the diet for one of those two for all patients, regardless of their blood type or any other?
Yeah, the blood type, right now, I won't tell you that in the future I might change my mind, but right now, the blood type diets, I don't think that our ancestors knew what blood type they were. They just ate healthy. And so that's why I don't see how the cave dwellers, they didn't know what blood type. So it might be a really simple answer, but I don't go for the typing. And I've had patients who said they have tried it and they have not, but they have not felt it to be beneficial.
The best diet I've ever done.
Yeah, and every body is different. So you'll be completely different than, say, a sister who has the same genetic makeup as you. So every body is different. I'm there to support my patients. So if they want to do a blood type diet, I'll be there to support them, answer any questions that I can. But if somebody doesn't know, then this is what I'm going to give them. Paleo or keto. Any other questions? All right, again, I'm Dr. Carla Demaray. I'm in Dixon, and I love talking about the human body. It's my favorite thing. So please give me a call. You're a doctor. I know I came in late. I apologize. Are you like an MD?
I'm
a chiropractor. I'm a DC. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been practicing for 29 years, and I started doing nutrition about 4 years ago. And it's been a really interesting journey, but there is a ton of information in nutrition, and but it's all very interesting. and the patients are benefiting greatly by just getting the right nutrients. All right. Any other questions? All right, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.